Hi everybody. I'm going to give you some notes over section 1.8, which is titled Equations and Inequalities Involving Absolute Value. This will actually be a continuation from something that you did last year in Algebra 2, and hopefully this will be a relatively simple section for you, given that you remember a lot of things you did last year. What I want to start off with talking about is if you have an equation that involves absolute values like here, then there's a certain way that you have to set these up, and what you will say is, since the absolute value of the quantity of, and this I'm looking at this example right here, of x minus 5 equals 3, then whatever this quantity is, if it is equal to positive 3, that would be one solution. Or if it were equal to negative 3, like as you can see I did here, that will be another solution. So with any of these absolute value equations, I could actually write somewhat of a formula here to say that if you have the absolute value of x equals a, then not only will this quantity, x represents a quantity that's inside of the absolute value, not only would that quantity equal a, but that quantity would also equal negative a. So that might be a good formula right there that you could write down maybe in your notes. Specifically, going back to this example, if you have the equation the absolute value of x minus 5 equals 3, then you could rewrite this using this setup here. You could say the quantity of x minus 5 equals 3, or the quantity of x minus 5 equals negative 3. So you set it equal to both the positive and the negative of that number. Then from there, what we'll do is go ahead and solve. So with this first equation, you would just go ahead and add that 5 to both sides to get that x equals 8, or we would add 5 to the other side to get that x equals 2. So my solution would be x equals 8 or x equals 2. Jumping ahead, there were some other situations here, and I'll give you a little bit of time here. We could also have inequalities. We could have that an absolute value of a quantity is less than a. We can also have the absolute value of the quantity is greater than a. I would recommend that you write these two statements down right here. If you have that the absolute value of u is less than a, now this also applies to less than or equal to, then that is identical to what's called a conjunction. If you recall, we saw some conjunctions in here, where we say that u is between negative a and positive a. And that's another way of saying that negative a is less than u and u is less than a. But it's easier to write this as a conjunction. If we have the absolute value of the absolute value of u is greater than a, then that is identical to what's called a disjunction, where you say u is less than negative a. And I want you to notice something here. To get this statement, u is less than negative a, you flip this inequality sign around, that became less than, and you make that a negative. So u is less than negative a, or u is greater than a, which follows right along with what was done here. So applying that information, as you look here, we have the absolute value of 3x plus 6 is less than or equal to 10. So since this is a conjunction, since this starts off as less than or equal to, then in solving this, I could write the conjunction negative 10 is less than or equal to 3x plus 6, which is less than or equal to 10. And then you go through and you solve that conjunction. Of course, we're going to subtract the 6 from both sides and divide through by 3, and that will solve our conjunction. Also, here's another example here. 2x minus 8 is greater than 4. The absolute value of the quantity of 2x minus 8 is greater than 4. Since this is a greater than sign, then we would write a disjunction. We would say that 2x minus 8, that's sloppy, is less than negative 4, or 2x minus 8 is greater than 4. And if I back up a couple slides here, then you'll notice how that pairs up. Here we have that the absolute value of u is greater than a. So we have a greater than sign. Then what we do is we write this as u is less than negative a, or u is greater than a. That directly applies to what was done here. We have the absolute value of 2x minus 8 is greater than 4. Therefore, we write a disjunction of 2x minus 8 is less than negative 4, or 2x minus 8 is greater than 4.